way things are unfolding. Let's go straight to Sumit Chaturvedi.
Well, thanks, Palki. And here we see the barometer of the economy, Sensex, once again touching new highs, 39,600 and up by 550 points since the morning today. We are seeing a pattern where it has gained since morning. This is USD INR, but we are moving towards Sensex, which has gained more than 500 points since morning. It is touching new highs. Clearly, it is overawed, enthused by the prospects of NDA2 coming to power, and that's what is leading to this kind of bullishness in the markets. Remember, over the last 5 years, what we have seen, a number of reforms happening in banking sector, a number of reforms leading to growth in economy. India is the world's fastest growing major economy. It's the 5th largest growing economy. That's what is clearly boosting markets. That's going forward. More reforms will come. GST demonetization, yes, there were hiccups, but the whole point is that reform should continue. Banking sector, we saw major reforms happening. That's why banking stocks have been gaining from the last few days. Also going forward, rural areas and the stocks that are focused on rural areas will be in focus. But we see a broad-based rally here. Results will be out in the next few hours, and then maybe rally will be higher. And we'll see Sensex maybe touching 40,000 mark today only, 39,600 mark. It's a new high for Sensex today. And we can see 40,000 mark also happening. There were some hiccups. The growth was jobless. There were problems initially. But overall, markets, they think that the economy is in safe hands. And that's why this kind of mandate, if it comes, if the BJP-led NDA government comes back to power, definitely it's going to be good for business. Over the last few years, ease of business, doing business has improved. Investments have been a bit subtle, I would say. But going forward, there may be more investments. Major thing, India is providing a ray of hope at a time when one side, US, China, are engulfed in a trade war. There are tensions in Iran and Gulf region. India, if stable government comes back to power, definitely good news for FIIs and domestic investors as well. A lot of money to be made today.
Right, Sumit, thanks very much. A lot of money to be made. More than 100 points up, that's how markets stand, and we'll see that picture changing. But you're talking about how the world views the way India is going under Narendra Modi. Yes, there have been some tough decisions, as he said, demonetization and GST. But how? What is the view from outside? Every time we look at a figure, we look at a projection from the IMF to the World Bank, they all say that India is the ray of hope, the silver lining.
Well, India's GDP growth rate is still at 6.6%. I mean, huge compared to that of the major Western democracies. Having said that, there's clearly an awareness that the GDP growth rate here is slipping. Industrial output is flat. Consumer demand for things like motor cars seems to be falling. So this incoming government has some huge challenges. And I think India still does not actually punch its full weight diplomatically. You might compare it to China in that regard. China punches very hard. India in the region, but much less so on a wider scale.
Right, and I want to correct myself. Markets up, Sensex up by more than 500 points. You wanted to make a point about how...
Well, I think Sumit's putting a very positive spin on it. 500 points does not represent a heat wave, frankly. I agree with Andrew here. This is a long, hard road of economic reform, right? And when we talk about continuity, of course investors, and, Walter talked about this the other day, investors prefer continuity. Investors are very lazy. They prefer the devil they know. But to Andrew's point, there is a shopping list of things that needs to be done. And all the economic indicators here are not good. To be honest, if the opposition was more capable this time round, if you look at the numbers out there, the BJP will be in a different position. I represent a community of effectively entrepreneurs in India, which Mr. Modi is now trying to get behind. There is hardly anyone out there who isn't suffering from liquidity, who doesn't suffer from bureaucracy, from interfering babus, from lack of land reform, labour reform, etc. So I don't want to be negative, because in the big picture, India is the most extraordinary opportunity, but it ain't a bed of roses.
The other thing is that when Rahul Gandhi criticizes GST, calling it Gabbar Singh tax, he doesn't say whether, on coming to power, if at all he were to, is he going to remove it? What is he going to do with it? So has the opposition presented an alternative?
No, I just wanted to say that the leads now are 284 NDA. They've crossed the halfway mark. But the thing I wanted to say, where I disagree very respectfully with Jasper, is that, the Sensex went up 1,421 points when the leads came out, when the exit polls came out, not leads. So that's the second highest spurt in the entire history of the Sensex. And 500 additional points today, you can't write it off. But I completely agree, economic reforms have to be speeded up. We just haven't done enough to... I completely agree with that. And, you know, what's happened, unfortunately, statism.
Mr. Pranj, actually that's the word, you know. A lot of people thought that Modi would be the reformer, but Modi turned out to be more like an Indira Gandhi form. You know, he created large state architecture with great welfare scheme. So in his second tenure, which looks very, very certain now, will we find Modi as a reformer, the Modi which was projected in 2014?
See, the state, the size of the state and the power of the bureaucracy has increased. And government is seen as the principal, if not sole engine of transformation in India. That has to change. Civil society has to be strengthened. Swaraj means you empower the people.
I think,
here, you're not going to have...
I think in the first term, most leaders try to sort of figure out what is going on.
Mai Baap Sarkar, that's what we've got. We've got to open up all sectors of the economy and roll back the, government